Doing here?
You're just talking.
Oh, I see.
Introduce our film. This is a videotape of an exercise group.
Are you saying it or am I saying it?
We're both being heard.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we hereby present a video of mom's exercises to cure all ills.
Is it true that Mom sometimes looks like Jane Fonda?
Mom always looks like Jane Fonda.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't know. This is your show. You're the producer and the director, so whatever you say.
Actually,
goes.
at this distance, you look kind of like a movie star.
Naturally I look. At least.
Have you ever heard of Mo, Larry, and Curly?
Right.
Those are the three movie stars I had in mind.
I see. How about the Marx Brothers?
Yeah, well, they're all the same.
Harpo.
Okay, Dad.
What?
Before our ratings go down,
Okay.
we'll sign off.
Okay.
Bye. Mom,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, stop, honey. I don't even hear teeth.
You know, this has sound too.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, honey, don't.
It's okay. We're leaving this tape with you.
Yeah, you don't
Where'd
have
you
to
get the
anymore.
tape?
Only you're gonna have it.
Where'd you get the tape?
I got the tape at the store. It was only like $4. So tell me about that beauty contest you entered.
You're
Did you
funny.
enter one?
I never had a beauty. I'm not. Josh, please don't waste your time on that.
What did David Lieber say about you?
Oh, well, he was just trying to be nice.
What did he say?
I don't remember. You told me something.
He said you reminded him of a Persian beauty or Greek beauty.
He's retiring, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But his eyesight's still good.
So what's he going to do?
I don't know. I think BSKI wanted him. So Ilana, what did you do with my mom today?
We went shopping.
Uh-huh.
The store was going out of business. We couldn't pass it up.
Uh-huh. Well, that's pretty good.
I even met someone there.
What are you making, Mom?
That's right. You know who we met in the store? Someone your mom grew up with in Cincinnati.
Is that right? Who?
Well, her name is Harris. Her children are in Israel.
Uh-huh.
She kind of had a sad story to tell.
It was?
Wasn't she? That her son? Well, we don't
No,
have to talk
that's
about
not her son. That's her nephew.
it.
See, her brother-in-law I used to go out with in Cincinnati. That's the truth.
And what was his name?
Stanley Harris.
Uh-huh.
And he lives here now.
So the question is, if you were going out with all these guys, how come you chose Dad?
That's a good question.
Didn't you like his neck?
His neck, that skinny neck. No, the thing is, I used to go out with him, but that was not fun.
For you? No. Okay, so why did you choose Dad?
I fell for his looks.
Uh-huh. And would you advise doing the same to young women today? To fall for his looks?
I'm not sure about that, but looks are important, unfortunately.
How come?
Don't tell me.
What?
It's enough.
What are you making?
So who proposed to who?
I don't know, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Did you think about it for a couple of days?
No,
You just said yes on the spot?
How come?
I guess I was thinking about going home,
What do you mean?
back to Cincinnati when we were in New York,
Yeah.
after the summer.
So?
I figured if we didn't go forward, it was hard to maintain a romance that far away. You're gonna take all my blueberries.
I don't like blueberries.
You do? Wait, I'm gonna make you two. Don't put it away yet.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So you figured you didn't have anything else to do that summer, you might as well get married.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Makes sense. You got married in Cincinnati? What synagogue?
In a
In a hall? In the hotel?
And then you lived happily ever after.
That's right. No, but this woman we met today, her brother-in-law, is the one that used to be in charge of this whole region for B'nai B'rith.
Mm-hmm.
He and I used to go out and organize people for Labor Zionists.
Uh-huh.
He and I were a team who went out and recruited people.
What did you want them to do?
It was not popular to be a Zionist.
Kind of like today.
Right.
Yeah?
Well,
You think it's worse today?
no, it's much easier today. They always gave you, you know, you're not patriotic, dual loyalty, all that stuff. So, anyway, we were good friends. I would go out with him sometimes in addition to that. Anyway, when we came here, he was already, they were honoring him at some fair. So Dad and I went. I didn't see him, but I read it in the paper. So we went to the affair because they honored him after 25 years or 30 years or whatever. So we went. So then we went over to him at the head table. So he says to Dad, "Is it all right if I kiss your wife?" Anyway, what happened to him?
Let's do it later.
Take that off. What happened to him was he was in the army, and when he came back, a buddy of his got killed, and he went to tell the wife about it, and then he married her.
Oh, uh-huh.
Oh, she was the one, her husband died?
Yeah. They came over. Even in this house, they came over a few times. Anyway, so that was okay. He had one son. When I heard that he was going to marry a Shiksa, I thought, here the father works in Jewish things, organization. So I said, Stanley, no matter what you do, it's not good enough. I mean, we work so hard. And it's not good enough. His own son. She told you. So I asked them, I always was curious what happened to the marriage. We're talking 20 years ago.
And what happened to the marriage?
They got divorced.
Did he get married again?
No. She told us he has a
See, that's the one.
A what?
Not the nephew.
A what?
The nephew. That's not her son. It's the brother-in-law's son, the one that came back, and all the people my age went to the war. There was nobody left in my class. Those boys all went. No. Anyway, she told us the marriage did not last. Okay, honey, it's enough on me. Now take.
I know.
I was right there, but I mean, I don't know that.
How is that?
Good. Honey, don't feel feeling my face.
He dropped something?
What are you eating? Pancake. Blueberry pancake, but I didn't put many blueberries in.
How come?
How come? Somebody eat them all?
I'm saving it for you guys.
Who ate them all?
There are more you could have had.
There's more. Weren't those big though?
Beautiful. Delicious.
I said, I've got to put these away. And then when we went blueberry pancakes, I made it for Hello and Roberta.
That was smart.
So what do you think of Ilana?
Fine. I like her.
Would you marry her?
I always feel bad that I didn't want you to get married.
Don't worry. How could?
I always feel bad that I didn't give you the right advice.
Well, how could you? You mean the first time I called you? Yeah, but how could you
I
know?
don't think you talked about it. Did you talk about how Josh was feeling? I don't think you talked about the marriage. Did you?
The boy didn't have a job. He didn't know what he was going to do, and he wants to get married. I don't know how to do that.
Well, it wasn't that bleak, was it? I had just finished a year as a lawyer. I had a job. I was just taking a leave of absence. I could come back.
I thought you quit for good.
No. I took a leave of absence from that.
Well, you didn't want to stay there. That was obvious.
Right.
Yeah, my dad had the same feeling.
But that's not, you never said any of those reasons when I first called. I thought you were just very surprised. You didn't even know this was going to
Before
happen.
he left, he said, I think I'm going to be a bachelor. That's what he told me. He said, I think I'm going to be a bachelor.
Before I left for camp. How are the blueberries, by the way?
Good. Good pancake. Now, these are biscuits.
They're good. They're very good.
I made yours too thin.
So now you feel badly.
I don't think about it. I just try to put it out.
You don't have to think about it anymore.
No. It wasn't the girl. I had nothing against the girl.
You hadn't met the girl.
Right. It was just that it seemed scary to me not having a job and not knowing what you want to do.
Right. Love conquers all. And it conquered me. But what did I say to reassure you?
You said, Mom, you're going to like her. She's religious.
Uh-huh.
But Mom, you're going to like her.
I told you I married a girl just like my mom. Well, not exactly in particular. Although when we get you on the exercise tape, it's going to seem like it. And wasn't I right?
Yeah.
I married a woman you like better than me.
I want to know where my handkerchief is. Please get that off of me.
Okay. And when did you meet my mom first, Ilana?
On Thanksgiving when we were already getting married.
Uh-huh. Was it something I said? That she left
On
the room?
Thanksgiving, you mean when I was in the hospital?
You got sick while Ilana was here. You took a look at her and you got sick.
And you weren't married then?
Right. But we were engaged and we were getting married in a month. All the plans were really set out already. It was already, the invitations were out.
You want a napkin?
No, that's okay. I'm going to get up and make some.
I guess it was kind of like buying that first suit. I had a strong opinion.
That's right.
It's funny you just told us about that suit story.
Okay. I'm going to make that.
You know that? You know that? That's a funny story.
Did you not remember that?
I did, but you said the same things. You said it would be nobody in high school might not do that.
No.
Just
No,
like you said somebody without a job might not do.
That's right. But you had enough confidence in yourself.
What counts?
Confidence in yourself. And you had that. See, no, I don't.
What?
I turn it on. I'm going to tell you about it.
About what? What was Tamima like as a baby?
It's such a long time ago. I don't remember. She was smart. That I know.
Well, I assume all your babies were smart.
They were all smart.
But she was a little smarter than the others.
Well, I spent more time with her, I think, than anybody else.
Why?
I was teaching her stories. She could tell you a story at 18 months.
Uh-huh.
In clear words.
Clear words that you could understand or everyone else could understand.
We would go to the Minion. That was our recreation in the evening, and she would tell those men stories. They couldn't get over it.
Uh-huh. And they could know what she was saying?
Yes, and not baby talk. Real, I don't know. I never talked baby talk to the kids.
Because you once told me how Ari can speak so clearly, and then I listened to her, and I really didn't hear the same words you did.
Well, but to me, those men just really ate her up.
Now, when I saw her baby book, it was the first time I realized that her name actually had an H at the end. And when did that disappear?
She decided she didn't want to age.
How old was she when she made that commitment?
I have no idea. I don't know when she made that change.
You think it was when she was pretty small?
No, I think when she got older.
Uh-huh. And what was Avi like as a baby?
I don't remember. He used to, all I remember is he'd won his dinner, he'd won his meals, and he'd always, like he was always tired.
Uh-huh.
He'd lay his little head down on the table and wait. And he loved to play with those little toy soldiers and horses and cavalry. I'd always bought him a lot of those army pieces. He loved to play that.
And how did he and Tamima get along?
So I don't really remember too much. Okay.
Did they know each other?
They knew each other.
Uh-huh.
I don't really remember that much
Uh-huh.
about getting along. I know Avi used to fight with Hillel a lot. I don't remember him fighting with Tamima that much.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay.
What was Hillel like when he was a baby?
He was very fast. He was 1 minute here, 1 minute there. He was all over the house in 2 seconds. He was fast. That's all I remember. He was just always real fast.
Uh-huh. And Avi and Hillel used to fight about what?
Whatever. They just always found things to fight about. That's all I can tell you.
But they would, I'm sure, protect each other.
No, I always protected the littlest, of course. I always took the little one's side because I figured the big one ought to have more sense.
And who would that little one be?
Him,
Who?
Hillel.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So is this where we began this myth that,
Right.
that what?
Nothing, whatever. That he was my favorite.
Ah, so you admit he was your favorite?
No,
No.
I didn't admit it. I said that's where it started like that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Look, I protected you from him or from anybody else. So I always protected the smallest one.
Right, right. So you didn't need to protect Tamima? What was Tamima doing when Avi and Hillel were fighting? Was she placing bets on either side?
No.
Uh-huh.
She had her own friends
Uh-huh.
to play with.
Yeah. This would be where? In Duluth or Texas or?
In Grand Rapids, she had a friend, a girlfriend across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby had a friend too. They didn't, I don't remember their fighting so much there.
Uh-huh.
Because just so they had somebody to play with, that they wouldn't always have to be playing with each other.
Right, right. And you made quite a climate switch between Austin, Texas and Duluth, Minnesota. Did you notice the difference the first year?
We sure did.
Uh-huh. But it was the right move?
Well, it was all right. We liked it there. We liked the people a lot.
In Duluth?
Yeah.
And then, what kind of baby was Joshua Scuff?
He was a good baby. Always getting a little sick from colds and things.
If he would only eat that vitamin C. Are we still talking about him as a baby, or?
No, about the baby
Uh-huh.
and that wheezing. Drove me crazy.
Well, that was from your side of the family, though. Your poor mother.
But I don't. Nobody else got it.
Well, maybe I wasn't. Maybe you got the wrong baby.
I don't know. A boy that you were born with just got married not too long ago.
Who's that?
Her name was Guller. She and I
Oh.
were in the hospital together.
Uh-huh.
Her husband got some award being the best small business in Missouri. And had a lot of money.
Is that right?
But he just got married. That was the one.
I see.
Maybe last year.
And Jonina? How about Jonina? What kind of baby was she?
Wouldn't eat. Would never eat. Couldn't even. My one pleasure in life was taking a ride in a car. Couldn't even take a ride in a car with her. She'd always throw up.
As a baby? Mm-hmm.
Didn't like to ride in the car.
Now, you once said to me you were pretty fascinated by your first baby because it was your first.
Right.
You used to just, what, look at her?
Look at her. Amazing. Amazing that this was my baby.
Uh-huh. That...
Wore off, you know. After a while it wears off.
Uh-huh.
You have things to do. With the first one, you sit there and look at it. But by the time you have the second and third, you have to worry about meals and this and that. And doctors.
So you were less excited by Avi?
By the rest, I was not so in awe of the whole thing.
Well, Avi, you were fascinated by his size, I assume.
Right.
That was probably a unique size. Uh-huh.
That's enough. Stop.
Yeah. And Hillel? What were you fascinated by him by?
I don't, honey, honestly, I don't know.
Well, he was 3 years younger than Avi.
Right.
So there was enough of an age difference that was probably novel again to have a baby.
Well, see, he was like the littlest for a long time.
Right.
I remember when I went to the hospital to have Jonina
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Esther Felberbaum, I said, Esther, I think it's coming. And Dad didn't rush to take me, so she took me to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
Tamima didn't cry, Avi didn't cry, you were a baby, you didn't cry. The only one who cried was Hillel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why did he cry? You mean he was in the synagogue already?
I'm talking about at home. When I
Oh, when you weren't
when you
in when you weren't at home for a few days.
No, when I left.
Uh-huh.
It was Saturday. Of course, you were little. Maybe you didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And you had all the other people. So
Right.
I was leaving.
Yeah.
But he was old enough to understand I was going to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
So he was the only one who cried. That I remember.
Uh-huh. Huh. That's interesting.
Hmm. So I say he was a baby for the longest time. Jamima wasn't a baby that long. Avi came in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Avi wasn't a baby that long. Hillel came in 3 years.
But then he was the youngest for 6 years.
6 years, see? So he was like the baby for a while. So
He was a baby for longer than I was a baby then.
that's right. You were only a baby for 2 years, and then another one came.
Uh-huh.
So his was different.
Now, when I came, did that change his role a little bit, Hillel's?
I didn't pay attention to things like that. Now there are people who are smarter or something. I was lucky I put a meal on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Took care of them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And,
Help. What?
so what else do you want to tell me?
That's it.
You liked St. Louis when you...
We practically lived in that one bedroom on Byron. Because the rest of the house was so hot. So hot here.
Yeah.
And the bedroom had one fan in it.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the house was unbearable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of you came and piled on our big bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's enough.
Wait a minute, so you liked St. Louis?
It was all right. It was okay.
You had a nice new home after a couple years?
Yeah, we moved here.
It was novel to have a baby when I was born, right? That was a few years since you had a baby. And then Jonina was born, she was born
2 years.
2 years later. And suddenly,
Please take it off of me. Please, I don't want to be videoed anymore, honey. Please.
okay.
Computer problems. Microsoft topped the Activist a lot.
We're not filming now.
I got it on.
I don't care. We're going to do it tomorrow, not today.
I wanted to ask you what you liked about the Italian food.
I don't know, honey. I'm not thinking about it.
What did you like about it?
I don't know. It's very heavy.
Is that what you like about it?
No, it's just a different taste than I'm used to. Not now. Please. Turn it off. Tomorrow I'll look a little better.
Okay. What did you have for dinner?
I
What kind?
You wear me out with that nonsense. Well, don't. That's enough. That's enough. Go, please, shut it off. Tomorrow
What's up?
I'll look at
That's okay. You don't have to waste the tape. I'm almost sleeping.
Are you?
Almost.
Okay.
You want to carry me upstairs?
No, do you want me to go to the bathroom for you?
No. Just carry me upstairs. Then I'll be able to go to sleep.
Carry you?
Yeah.
Upstairs?
Yeah.
Kind of hard to figure.
Or should I get somebody from the CIA?
Or the CID?
CID.
Or is that the CIC?
So they didn't hurt Costner? Did they ever find out that he was there?
Costa turned out to be Yuri.
Oh. He did? I don't understand.
But he turned out to be his own man.
Well, but he's trapped now. He can't really go back. He can't. I mean, he'll have to go back. He won't be his own man.
And that one who killed her never got what he just deserved, right?
That's true. He didn't.
Oh, honey, that's
Good morning, Mom. How are you?
okay.
How you feeling?
All right, fine.
You resting?
Yeah. What did she want?
She wanted to. There's somebody who had needed me. Uh-huh.
What they want? Anything special?
No, I mean somebody.
It wasn't a funeral.
Well, somebody had died. Yeah.
They wanted you.
Well, he was down in Florida, so I think he just wanted to talk to me as his spiritual leader.
Who died? A woman or a man?
Someone's father, a friend of mine. So, what do you plan on doing today, Mom?
I don't know. It's raining out. Please,
This will look interesting on the tape.
we'll save it for a little later when I look like a person, not like I don't know.
What do you look like now?
I'm not sure what I look like.
You look pretty good for somebody sleeping. So listen, it's
You want
time.
me sleeping?
Yes,
Well, let me sleep a little bit longer.
Okay.
I shouldn't have.
9:30.
This way we paid for it. This way they would have paid for it.
I know. But didn't Avi used to come in and wake you early in the morning?
Yeah,
And what would he do?
I don't remember.
What would you tell him to do?
I'd tell him to go back to his room and not wake me up.
And so what would he do?
He'd go back to his room.
And is this when he began to read?
There's only books in his room, no furniture. No furniture, only books and a bed.
How come?
That was over on Byron.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But then he used to also go out and get early morning papers.
No, we always had the paper delivered. No, he'd go and pick up things at Kratzel.
Uh-huh.
He and her, she died, both of them young.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, it's a pleasure to wait on your son.
Is that
At 6:45 every morning.
was he open that early?
He opened at 7, I think.
Oh, but Avi would come in early.
He'd there before he came.
And you didn't mind him going that early, huh?
Well, sometimes he'd pick up bread or whatever we needed at there.
But I mean, he wasn't. He was only about 9 years old, was he?
He was very dependable.
Uh-huh. Well, but I'm saying in today's world.
You know, now he didn't understand why he can't get his kids to be more responsible.
Mm-hmm.
He was very responsible.
Mm-hmm.
He looks after you. look after you, but one night we came home, you were babysitting him.
Why?
He was supposed to be babysitting you. You were a little baby walking around next to him, and he was sleeping on the couch.
Was that an example of his responsible nature?
Well, see, he always fell asleep early.
Uh-huh.
He couldn't stay up.
I think that still happens today. Yeah. And he wakes up early, though, too. But I'm saying in today's...
One time I got so mad at him. There was a little hill there, and he was wheeling you in the stroller. He ran to the sidewalk, and he let the thing go down. He fell, I think, out of the thing. I was so mad at that.
And what'd you do?
I don't remember, honey, but he never did that again. It was like a little game. He was letting the thing roll down.
But then he let it go too far.
I don't know. I remember I was upset. I think he fell out. I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
But he saw he couldn't do that.
Uh-huh. So, but I'm saying in today's world, you might not want a child to go out so early in the morning by himself.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of strange to even think of it. A little kid, he couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Probably less.
I don't remember.
Maybe 10 years old.
How much older are you than him?
He's 9 years older than I am.
Well,
Had to be
then-
61 or 62, so he couldn't have been more than 9 or 10 years old. Maybe 11. Maybe 11.
Well, he was born in 51, so he was about 10 years old. Well, it's okay. He knew his arithmetic. He always brought back the right change. You know, I watched that.
Uh-huh. By the way, I owe you $3.50 from last night.
No, I said, stop that. You bought bagel or whatever. But they cheated you in some way.
Why?
It shouldn't have been that much. Have you got the slip?
I'm sure we do, but $21.50
It
doesn't...
should not have been that much. Not on this sale.
Pasta, 2 plates of pasta,
How much was the pasta?
probably about $6 a piece.
It shouldn't have been. It should have been cheaper.
Why?
It was on a sale.
The pasta? Why?
I don't know, honey. Don't. Please, take it off. He's coming in for 10 times.
Tell me about the, what were some of the best, what do you think the best Cardinal team was that you ever saw? Let's think for a minute.
Just tell me what
It's
number.
5 of 10. Okay, you've seen a lot of great ball clubs.
The biggest thrills were the I still keep my ticket of the World Series.
Yeah, but which year, or any of them? I mean,
82 I love.
82? Why?
82?
Yeah, that's good memory, Mom. Why? Why do you like 82?
We got to see a lot of games because one of them was rained out.
Oh,
And they gave us another ticket to come back the next, when
Uh-huh.
it was rescheduled. So we got an
In-
extra game for the price of one.
well, but one game didn't count.
One game didn't count.
Do you
But then we saw one of the playoffs too.
Right.
We saw 3 games out of the end of the season.
How did you get those? Is it Mike?
I think so.
Do you remember who we played in 82? Milwaukee Brewers,
Really? Was that what? Milwaukee?
if that's who you're thinking of.
82. I remember it was 82. But the one that I saw in 60, was it 65?
Well, there was one in 64 and one in 67.
Well, then it was 64.
Okay.
It was Boston.
Oh, 67. 67.
67? You mean you were 7?
Oh, yeah, I knew that series pretty well.
That Yastrzemski hit that home run. I was so mad. He won the game.
Yeah, 3-1, fifth
Ah.
game.
That was heartbreaking.
He was a great player, though.
Yeah,
We won that series.
we did.
We didn't win that game.
I saw the game where he
Right.
wrecked that game.
Yeah.
For us.
Good player.
Very good. I still see his face in front of me. I was so mad I know every feature of his face. Tall fella.
Yeah.
Pointy nose.
Uh-huh.
No
uh-huh.
glasses.
Right.
Thin face.
Yeah. Good man in the long run.
Very-
So you liked 67 for that. Well, you didn't like that, but you got...
No, but I got
Which?
to see
How about
that.
how about your favorite Cardinal teams? Did you like the teams with Cepeda and Brock, or did you like the teams with Whitey and Ozzie and Coleman, all those fast guys?
It didn't matter. Your loyalty goes to the team. Cepeda, we used to yell for Cepeda. But then, I don't know, it came time for the World Series. He never came through on the World Series.
You're right. It's a good memory. It's exactly right. He never did well in the World Series for us.
Right.
Of course, he led us through the season,
Right.
which is
well,
important.
Which is important, but came the World Series, he couldn't produce. Anyway, when I was little, I was always for Jim Bottomley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cincinnati Red.
Did they call him the Red Legs?
Yeah, right.
The Reds.
The Reds.
How come you like Jim Bottomley?
I don't know. Wasn't he the catcher?
Well, I think he was first baseman, wasn't he? Were you a baseball fan then?
Yep,
Really?
absolutely.
Your brothers too, or not so much? They were Europeans. So how come you got to be into sports?
Because I lived next door to Catholic people, and I played with those children,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the only sport that we'd be glued to that radio, just like you see with that
Yeah.
circular radio, little radio. We'd all sit around. The priest would come over to their house.
Mm-hmm.
We'd all sit there, and they'd keep drinking beer, and we'd keep score on the players. And that's the only game I really got into.
Were the Reds good then?
Yeah, they were always good.
Yeah. What year was that?
Oh, that had to be about in the 30s.
Yeah. Is that when that?
I don't know that did they ever win World Series. I don't know that I ever got that. I don't remember that far, but we'd keep score for every game.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Huh.
And I think the priest always got the kids in free, so I'd go too, I think.
You were Catholic that day.
Right. He didn't care if I was Jewish. He just took
No, you
all
thought
the
you might be
kids.
able to save a soul.
Right. I still remember Father Bukite.
Uh-huh.
I still remember his name.
Huh. So, when you got older, now then of course in some cities you lived in, there were no major league cities.
Right.
Who'd you root for in Texas? There was no team? Or Duluth? None of those cities really had teams.
I always paid attention to the Cincinnati Reds.
Now, how did the Cardinals win your loyalties?
We came here. That's 32 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And you immediately started liking the Cardinals?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Wait. Now,
Look at me.
when I was growing up, I remember Cepeda was like magic. Ninth inning, he'd always get a big hit. It was kind of like a single, a home run, whatever it was. He was like magic.
I don't know how you learned all these things. You were so little, and right away you understood all these football games and the baseball. Why, I see the kids now your age, they're like babies. And you knew all that stuff. I do not know how you understood it. At that time you were crying, standing there crying at the thing, that football game that was the World Series. No, was it?
Well, it was the football version of the World Series.
Ah, God. Who taught you that stuff?
I don't know. But wasn't I also crying because Hilla was beating me up?
No. If your team didn't win, you were up there crying because they weren't winning.
The Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Yeah.
Who did teach you?
I have no idea.
You taught yourself?
I just have absolutely no idea. I know there were old baseball cards around I would look at, but those were old cards. They weren't like present teams.
But to learn the game, you had to be like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand that. I never did understand it, and I still don't. But who taught you that? You could barely read, but could read, but I mean, look, I've been watching that football game for so many years. I don't really understand it all. I don't know all the plays and yardage and all that stuff, but by golly, you knew all that stuff. You took it personally. Took every inch of it personally.
Well, that was 7 years old when that game was played.
That's right. I know they were 7 years old.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a
12-hour shift systems and a bulky fuel cell. On Wall Street at the hour, the Dow Industrial Average was down more than 6 points, standing at 3217.35.
So what happened? Tell me, what did you think? You think the Whitey teams were better than the Cepeda teams?
I can't compare.
That was a great time in St. Louis sports, Whitey. How come it ended so quickly?
I don't know.
Didn't end so quickly, but like all of a sudden he was leaving.
I don't know. I have no idea. We heard that he and Ozzie didn't get along, and the players were listening to Ozzie and not to him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are mad at Maxwell now, too.
Why? He can't
They
hit
don't-
well.
They don't think he's... Of course, last year they really did well with whom?
Right. Second place, it really, they thought they were going to be in last place.
That's right. So they did give him credit for that, but when you see these guys on all these other teams, those that are doing so well, those were all our players, especially like last year. I forget that fellow's name. Pittsburgh or Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I don't know who it is. Oh, Van Slyke?
Van Slyke.
Yeah. There was a loser of a deal if I ever saw
Why
one.
would they trade Van Slyke?
I even remember the year. It was 83. It was the year after the year we went to the World Series. And our team had basically not done well the next year. He was like the best player on kind of a mediocre team.
Right.
It was the year we had a mediocre team, but he was the best of the mediocres.
We don't understand why they would.
Maybe it was 86. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was
Understand
86.
their strategy. Now the writers keep saying, look, in those days, Bush, the old man, was living and he took a different interest in the team. Now Bush is so big with so many businesses.
Yeah.
It's just one of their many businesses. It doesn't have the prominence in their corporation
Right.
that it did formerly.
Yeah, that's maybe.
So it's just, but St. Louis is a big baseball city.
They love it.
But we're going to get
A football team?
yep.
You think so?
Oh, they say it.
Why?
They want it.
But they didn't want to go the games before.
Well, I don't know. They're looking for it now. They've got the people, got the money. They're going to build a stadium.
A different stadium. Maybe they just didn't like Bidwell,
Right.
the owner.
They
There was
did.
always this uneasy relationship between the owner and the city.
They did pretty good this year.
Phoenix Cardinals? I don't know.
I mean, I'm hoping.
Isn't there a U on it?
Yeah, the one I got has a U on it. But,
Well, see, I had gotten those before, but since they remodeled this store.
right.
But it's not under supervision. So I called and I had a lengthy conversation with them, and I said it was better for us when you didn't have a bakery here, because all the imported from the other ones all had the little symbol on it saying it was kosher.
Uh-huh.
And now the ones that you make here
Right.
are not, and so we're left. She said, you're not the only one that's complained.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I said, so no matter what you have, please import some from the other place, because now we're stuck without that. So she was going to pass on the information.
But now they have Nancy Ann, and that's baked goods.
Nancy Ann is their stuff.
Oh, but it's imported, the ones that have the symbol?
Right.
Ah.
on Olive Street Road, like where this Jewish neighborhood is, they have a big kosher place. Now, why they have it at Town and Country Mall, I have no idea, except it's open 24 hours a day. Oh, when I go in there, they have the most beautiful bakery goods, and everything is kosher there. Beautiful. And I thought they would make the same thing here. Are you taping me? Stop that, please.
Mom,
You're
Mom,
going to use up the tape.
did you vote for Reagan?
Never.
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 How come?
I find it hard to vote for a Republican, number one. Number two, well, that was the main reason, I guess.
But now you're glad you didn't vote.
Well,
Same
I
as you
saw,
did.
well, the first time I couldn't have. Who did he run against the first time?
Carter.
No. Mondale. Well, I voted for Carter. But then I saw, it doesn't matter the man. You're voting for that party, and I hated the party. Even if you think it's a good man, he can't do much himself. It's really the party, and then I got tired of that party. Then I leaned a little bit to the Republicans, but when I saw what he was doing to the common man, and he is a commoner. Why would he? But he got to be so rich that just the rich got richer, and that wasn't right. And now we're paying. I mean, it's not all Bush's fault. The first time when he broke that PATCO union of the airlines,
Yes.
I saw that he was not a man for the common man. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm still a common man person. You need to work for the average man on the street. You need rich people. I'm not saying it's, but they just got too big, too greedy, and blame everything on the unions. It's not right. Without the unions, we would have been in much bigger trouble. A man can't fight for himself. He needs to be organized. And now, the way that we are going, the unions need to go over to these poor countries. That should be their job. And organize the workers there so that they can't import stuff from these backward countries because they live on 10 pesos a day. They should organize them so that they'll get more per day, and then we'd have things better. That should be their job, to go around the world and organize the workers.
So you don't feel it's all Bush's fault?
No, I don't. A lot of it is from Reagan, but he was part of that administration. What do you want?
Who was your favorite president?
Well, I don't know. I thought when Roosevelt died, we all cried. We thought he was such a friend to the Jews, and we found out he could have saved Jews and didn't, so now I hate him. He could have saved many Jews, but he didn't. And you saw that picture. They came to Florida and they didn't let him on, so how can you like a man like that? The thing we liked about him was my brothers worked from sun up to sundown, got no way. He made 8 hours a day. He gave a basic hourly wage. You couldn't work all day and not get paid. Certain social things that he put in for the... Otherwise, the man was a slave to his job. Got nothing for it.
So that's what you liked about Roosevelt?
Right. But outside of that, I thought, God, when you think that he could have saved Jews and didn't. Terrible, terrible thing.
How about Truman?
Well, Truman was all right. Well, we liked him because he recognized Israel. That was a big thing for us.
When he was president, you weren't in Missouri yet.
No.
But people liked Truman, didn't they?
Yeah,
He was a real common man.
that's right. He was a real common
He,
man. The thing that put him on the map with Jews was that he recognized it. You know, all the State Department was
Right.
against it.
right.
Everybody was against it, and he did it because he had the Jewish friend Eddie Jacobson. He knew Israel meant a lot to Jews.
Uh-huh. And he got in trouble. Now, why didn't he seek re-election? 52?
Oh, 52. Then let's see, Eisenhower, wasn't
Right.
it?
Right.
Was a big hero, and you know.
You must have loved Eisenhower, right?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
You mean you didn't want to see General...
He was a goy's goy. I mean, a military hero, and he wasn't even smart. He was not, he just knew war machine. I mean, he really didn't know much about the country. I didn't think much of him. But he was a national hero. He did commander of the forces in Europe. And I mean, he came back a hero, that's all.
I know who your man was
What's that?
during that time.
Who?
Stevenson.
Well, we did vote for, I voted for, we both voted for Steve. But see, they talk nice, but can they do anything? See, the older I get, I realize it's not only words. You love his words, but can he carry it through, the ideas he has? Giving the ideas and carrying it through are two different things.
See, at one point you used to tell me how much you loved Stevenson.
Yeah.
How you couldn't imagine why anybody else wouldn't vote for Stevenson.
That was the biggest disappointment in my life, when the next day I heard that he lost.
I thought it was when I didn't become a doctor.
But I went next door. He was a professor and she was at the University of Duluth, University of Minnesota. And I could not believe it, that man lost, because I was so much for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't in touch with the world. The world likes a hero.
What did they say when you said that?
I think they also voted for him.
Yeah.
You know,
How about Kennedy?
that was exciting. That was an exciting election. Well, we never liked Nixon.
How come?
Just what the ad said, you didn't trust him for some reason. He doesn't come across being honest.
Mm-hmm.
People like honesty.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I'm not saying he wasn't smart or this or that, but for some reason he didn't come across being honest. I don't know. Never grabbed my imagination at all.
Mm-hmm. And Kennedy did?
Yeah. It was, I don't know, something about him. And you had to give him credit, because I didn't know, why do people dislike him because he was Catholic? I mean, we never thought that way.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of people wouldn't vote for a Catholic.
Right.
I never understood that kind of stuff.
I guess Jews figured, well, if they're going to get angry at you, might as well be because you're... We always figured Catholic was like Christian. It wasn't so much different.
But who knows? Who knows how he really... It was a wonderful time for young people when he was president. He really gave them thoughts about the country that they didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
It was exciting. He made it exciting.
Mm-hmm. And then people were sad when he died.
Oh, God. That was so terrible. That was so terrible.
Where were you?
Lived in the apartment. You were a little boy, I would just be glued to that television. It went on day after day after day. I sat there the day that Ruby killed Oswald. I was sitting there. It was on a Sunday morning. I still remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of my eyes, that man killed that fella.
Mm.
I could not believe it. In a police station.
Yeah.
Just could not believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Ruby was a Jew.
Right.
Oh, that destroyed me. That he was such a lowlife.
Yeah. So where were you when you heard Kennedy was? Did you hear it over the news?
I don't know. I was mostly home. I guess I didn't have it on when he.
Yeah. Do you think there was a conspiracy?
Who knows? Who knows? I read all that stuff, and then the thing that I don't understand is people have gone up there and tried to shoot
Right.
from where they say Oswald shot.
Right.
It's not easy to do that.
No, it's not.
So I don't understand this poor little fella. How could he have done it so straight?
Right.
There has to be something more to that.
Right.
Then they say it had to come from the grassy knoll because his head went back.
Right.
And I read somewhere else, if you shoot from the back, your head goes back. I would think if you shot from the front, your head goes back.
Exactly. I agree.
But now, did you read that?
Yeah, and so they try to explain it in terms of, well, his head went forward just for a moment and then it snapped back. And there's some sort of law of physics that explains that, but I don't understand it.
Right, I don't understand it. So,
Especially when you see the tape and you see that it seems like there's an explosion in the front of the head, not the back of the head.
it's so terrible. I just can't imagine that these people wanted to kill that man. Why? It's dreadful to think of, but I don't trust these parts of the government. I don't. They are, and they can become like a government within themselves and think that they can do things. You
Right.
know that.
Right.
Terrible. It is terrible. I mean, I'm not saying they did it, but you see from other incidents that it's possible that they could make their secret little
Yeah.
thing, whatever.
How about Johnson? Did you like him?
Yeah, Johnson is all right.
He was good for Israel, wasn't he?
I don't know. I remember Jim Novy. That was his hero who backed him with money.
Yeah.
We knew him in Austin.
Uh-huh.
Very nice man.
Uh-huh.
He gave Johnson a lot of money. Johnson sent the plane and brought Jim Novy to the White House.
Uh-huh.
That man couldn't sign his name. A European man, never learned English, and it was so rich. He had some lawyers watching his other lawyers. 2 sets of lawyers watching each other.
Why?
Didn't trust them. I don't know. He couldn't sign his name and built up such a business.
Huh.
But he was Jim Novy's friend.
Yeah.
Johnson was his man.
And-
And he was good to the Jews. He bought up their old synagogue, gave them a lot of money.
Jim Novy.
No, I say Johnson.
Oh, Johnson.
The synagogue from the
Mhm.
congregation. Gave them a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Then they built a new place out, and this was downtown.
I
All
see.
the old
Yeah.
synagogues were downtown.
Right.
We built a post office there,
Oh, I see.
where was our synagogue.
Right.
10th and San Jacinto.
Mm-hmm.
And then they built another synagogue way out. Nice new synagogue. It
Mm-hmm.
was, look, the Jews were for him 100%.
Right. And then Nixon came back. I guess you couldn't believe Nixon came back.
Couldn't believe it. How people would vote for Nixon.
You probably wanted Humphrey.
Well, I faulted Johnson on that. He didn't push him enough. He didn't give him enough. We met Humphrey. I sat next to him at a dinner once. Lovely man.
Yeah.
Lovely man. For Israel, 100%, 102%.
Yeah.
talked. He loved to talk. He talk. You know, we'd always meet these politicians because Dad was the rabbi. Whenever they'd bring him anywhere, we'd always sit up next to him. Lovely man.
Did you like any of the other candidates that year, McCarthy or Kennedy?
McCarthy.
Gene McCarthy or Robert Kennedy?
These bleeding liberals, you see, it's just words. It sounds good on paper, but they can't carry it through.
How about Robert Kennedy?
I didn't really know much about him.
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't.
And then Carter.
Then you would read in the paper how, you know, Johnson wasn't a Sadiq, but you would read how Bobby Kennedy treated him so roughly. It was not.
Who treated who? I don't understand.
He really didn't want him to be vice president, Bobby.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
They talk so terrible to each other. I just didn't like that at all.
So then after Nixon, there was Ford for a little while.
Ford's father came to our house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we told you that, right?
When his son was running for representative.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. In Michigan.
Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
That wasn't his real father, but
Uh-huh.
he raised him. He called him father.
And how about Carter?
Oh, I voted for him only because he was a Democrat, and then I was sorry about it. I hated him. I never liked him at all.
Why?
There was something about him I did not like. I just didn't. And I never liked the way he treated Begin. I always saw that he didn't really like him.
Mm-hmm.
He was horrible. I didn't like him at all.
So what it?
How could
Yeah.
we put a man like that in the White House? I don't know. Just uncouth. I didn't like him at all.
So what have your years of shrewdly observing the political scene of America? What has it taught you?
You guys can talk me too much. I'm not a student of the political scene. I don't think the way their main purpose, politicians' main goal in life is to get elected, and they'll say anything and do anything. You heard Bush just say it the other day.
Yeah.
I'll do anything to get elected. They don't mean what they say. They don't say what they mean.
So they're
All
all.
they want to do is get elected.
Uh-huh.
Why? Why would anybody want to be president? I mean, it doesn't pay that much. What do they need it for? Why would they want to do that? I wouldn't want that job.
Power.
Power. What power? Who power? I mean, no, this man is out of control. He doesn't know what's going on. At least, you see, I wasn't for Reagan, but at least somehow he had people around him that knew what they were doing. This fella's got nothing. He doesn't have the ideas himself, and he doesn't seem to have the people around him that have the ideas either.
What would you do if you were president?
I wouldn't want to be president. I don't know. If they talk to these different countries, they make deals that you don't know about. It's so crooked. It's so. I don't know why we listen to the news. Why I listen to the news every day. It's not for real. Nothing is for real. It's not what you see. A foreign king or president or somebody comes over, they make secret deals. They only tell you what they want you to hear. They don't tell you what's not there.
So why
Like
do
with Ford, they said Ford made a deal about Israel. What was that now? That we would. Do you know something
No.
about the Golan Heights?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just in the paper the other week.
Uh-huh.
So nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So what? You know, it's not. I don't know. I'm straight. I don't like crooked stuff. I don't like that. I'm not a politician. I don't like to. How can you tell somebody something and it's not true? And you keep saying it long enough, pretty soon you believe it yourself, and it's not even true.
If the news is a waste of time, how come you stay up
Yeah,
and
right.
listen to the news
Why
all
do
night?
I don't know. I'm stupid.
No, you're not stupid. But why do you stay up all night listening to the news?
I don't know. I always think they're going to say something about Israel.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I care about.
All right, we're signing off.
Stop already. Say
Unless we've missed anything. Huh?
Huh?
Have we missed anything?
No, we haven't missed anything. I haven't said one good idea in the whole.
Except that you want to be on McNeil Lair
No,
Or-
that's pretty good.
or the McLaughlin Group.
It's like Judy Woodruff. Now, she's like a bright person. You saw the other night. She
Yeah.
gives a pretty good. But she doesn't. They don't ask the right questions, or they get these Arabs on. They say the same thing over and over again, the big lies, and the American people believe them.
What should Israel do with the territories?
They shouldn't do anything. They should just keep them. And that's all there is to it. I wouldn't give them an inch of territory. Not one. They got all these lands out there. Let them use them. Build them up. Why don't they say that Saudi Arabia kicked out all these people? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. We had an Arab over here for dinner once. Jewish Arab.
Uh-huh.
Arab. How would you say that? I think he was from Kuwait.
Okay.
He came to a wedding here,
Mm-hmm.
and we had him over. He said they hate the Palestinians. All the Arab countries hate them.
Mhm.
Why? And they never let them become citizens.
Yeah.
They can work in their country.
What? Hmm.
But they never let them become
Yeah.
citizens.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And see, the Americans don't understand that. They think, well, here are these poor Palestinians. They have nowhere to go. So why take Israeli land? Well, let them take some of Saudi Arabia. Let them take some of some other country that's barren. Go over there and see how barren it is.
Mhm.
They haven't used up the land they got. You pass over it in an airplane, you see they got hundreds and thousands of miles of barren land. Give them to them. Give them some land. Why these few square yards of land that Israel, so tiny, they even want to carve that up? It's no good. It's a double standard, everything. I hate it. I don't know.
Are you sorry that as an early Zionist you never moved to Israel to live?
Well, I guess not. I mean, I thought of doing it at one time, but they need young people. They don't need people like me. They need they needed young people to build up the land and did their fair share of building it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need capital. You know, you need capital. You need people with money. I mean, the kibbutz movement was good when they were building it up, but I don't know if it could always continue that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It hasn't seemed to flourish that much in the last many years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say, what's the main reason it hasn't?
I'm not sure. Maybe Israelis are becoming more urbanized. They want to live in a city.
Yeah, right.
They want to be like Americans.
I mean, I don't know.
They want good genes.
Right.
All right, Mom. We're signing off.